For the record, like I say, many years have passed. Many generations have lived full and happy lives and then died. When they state a population or a war having lived like 300,000 people died, that is the population for a period of time. That is, that many people lived at that spot. 300,000 people lived and died, lived a full life. Some may have died from accidents. I believe if it says 300,000 people died, that means population mortality rate, I believe, for that era. You'd have to look at the population mortality rate, which would be about one in four or 1 in 6. Although later on it was actually 1 in 10, I believe, or somewhere around there. Went up as high as 1 in 12. But so 300,000 people, let's say 1 in 6 of those died from accidents. Okay, that's a normal accident mortality rate. Okay, then you understand what that means, context. So if they say 300,000 people died here, that means 300,000 people, and that includes baby mortality rates as well, for that time, although, most babies usually pop out no problem. But, there were some problems, of course, and some other things, lead contamination, but mostly the living quarters was always away from the family, from the factory. So you would have a factory like 25 miles away from, a housing complex 25 miles away from the factory or so. I like to keep lots of distance there. And I always said that the living complexes be up higher on a hill than the factory. So the factory would be down lower towards the ocean. Of course, then you have, but not too close to the ocean, because then, it goes out to the ocean. So I was trying to manage that as well. And I told my people, we had some problems until I was like, okay, so many miles away inland and not away from creeks or not near a creek, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, and housing places up higher on mountains. It took me a minute, but I got it. So when it says 300,000 people lived and died in this place, that means that many people lived 1 to 50 or 40 or so within that square of land. So that's what that means, or that general area, once upon a time. So anyway, love you people. I just wanted to know for future records how many people lived and died in a spot. So when you quote things online, I suppose they consider World War or Life War 1, Life War 2. So there's sections of time. So 1, 2, so like 700 years on up to, say, 1400 years. And then that's World War I section. World War or Life War section 2 is, say, 1500 on up to present day almost. So that's what that really means. So you have life, like everything against humanity, war, section 1. Everything against humanity, section 2. And then at some point we break off, and then there's everything against humanity, section 3. But at this point in time, humanity's pretty much got it. So that's what those sections actually mean in reality. So you have year 0 to, like, say 1200 is one section. Year 1200 on up to, say, 1500 or 1600. There's tapes, tape A or document section A, document section B, document section C, document section D. I like them to break it up into about 500 or 1,000 year increments. So, you'd have, although 700,000 years have passed technically. So, and documentation was kind of like sketchy for the first, 5,000 years, and then it gets a little more in shape, from like, year 0 on up to present day. And then you have, the different document sections. So that's what all that means. So yeah, about that. About that. I look stupid. Don't quote me. Ay, ay, ay. Oh well.